Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks. And here we stand, al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, that's Dan, and you're listening to
The ProBoh Show!
Good morning, everyone. Welcome on this beautiful Wednesday. Pow, 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 pow. Sorry, Dan. It's Wednesday, your least favorite day, Dan. Bwah, bwah, bwah. How are you coping?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think he's so happy because you're not going to see me for 5 days. That's why he's happy.
I think it's less time.
Is it? It could be, actually. I'm away tomorrow.
Well, no, it's 5
Friday. Oh, yeah, 5 days. Oh, dude, Dan. Well, 3 working days, 5 days in total. He's counting the seconds. Anyway, how are you doing out there, friends? Yeah, this is the last show for a little while. I'm taking a little break, just 5 days, and I'll be back on Tuesday for more madness. But I am taking a little break to go to the Mad Cool Festival and deal with the subsequent hangovers every morning without subjecting you guys to them. So yeah. And by the way, it is going to be hot out there, friends. If you are going to the Mad Cool Festival, which I imagine many of you are, a few of you have written to me. Among them, our friend Carlos, Dan, said, "I'll see you at Mad Cool. If you do see me at Mad Cool, come and say hello, please." You know me. I'll be the guy wearing a cap trying to hide gingerly from the sun. Yeah, we're going to experience highs of 38 degrees today. So do be careful out there. It's currently 25 degrees outside on this, the 8th of July, 8:31 a.m. And you are indeed listening to me and Dan. Welcome. What's coming up in today's show? Today we're going to talk about couples. We're talking about relationships. Dan and I can speak with some authority on this. We are both in a relationship, not with each other, obviously, with other people. So today's 100 Humans question is, when a couple break up, what might one want back from their ex? Cuando una pareja rompe, ¿qué podría querer recuperar uno de los dos? What do you want back? You've broken up with someone. Hey, give me back my blank. That's what we're asking about. Let's see. All right, and then today's unpopular opinion is a couple doesn't need to live together. Una pareja no necesita vivir juntos. Is that right? Isn't that the natural flow of water? Isn't it you go out for a little while and then, things start getting a little more serious and the next step is moving in? Is that step unnecessary? Could you see yourself married without living with your partner? It's an interesting question. It seems to be nowadays it's not a prerequisite. But all that coming up later, friends. First of all, I'm here, you're here, Dan's here. Let's see what's going on in the world. First of all, among our mighty audience. By the way, I will remind you, if you want to be as cool, as sexy, as charming, as influential, as impactful, as intelligent, then you need to join us on twitch.tv twitch.tv// Bohemia Profesional, para un inglés professional bohemian. You can also join me on my Instagram to interact with the show outside of our lifetimes. Although beware, if you send me a message, it's probably not going to be interacted with until Tuesday. You can also join us outside of our lifetimes on my Instagram, which is @@ professional bohemian. And if you're extra specially cool and sexy and charming, well, of course, my Patreon is right there for you, where you get all the links to the show, all the VODs, all the good stuff, some limited and original series up there as well. So do go join me there. All right, let's see who's joining us. We've got the bridge immediately. She says, "Good morning, my beautiful Bonnie Bouncy Bohemians, and Bonnie Bouncy Bob, and darling dashing Dan the radio man. It's my favorite day," says the bridge. And then I imagine the next message came after me saying I'm taking a break for a couple of days. Because the next message is simply, "No!" in mayúsculas with about 5 exclamation marks. But I'll be back, Bridge. I'll be back. Mike is here, says, good morning, dear Bohemians. Today's not as hot, thanks to yesterday's rain. Yeah, oh God, did you experience the rain shower yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was raining. I'll be honest. I went home. I immediately had a little old man siesta, an old man nap. And then when I woke up, I was messaging with Sophie and she says, oh, the rain, it's raining so much outside. And I'm like, is it? And yeah, it was pouring down. So it is a little cooler this morning, but temperatures will creep up through the day. So do be careful out there, especially if you're going to be at the festival later. I need to take my own advice with regards to that. All right, should we do it? Should we get into some news today? We should, I think. By the way, guys, for those of you who've been joining me on the lunchtime shows, yesterday was a particular favourite of mine. Thank you for everyone who did show up yesterday and were sharing your opinions and interacting. We didn't get to a single question yesterday. We just spent the whole show talking to each other, and that, for me, is one of the beautiful parts of this job, is when the conversation takes over the planned content. So thank you for that, personally. All right, let's get into some news. This one coming from the University of Columbia, the Irving Medical Center of the University of Columbia. Skimping on sleep. Skimping on sleep. Skimping is to be very judicious in your measurements. So skimping on sleep means to not sleep very much. Dormir poco. Skimping on sleep leads to weight gain. Provoca aumento de peso. So there you go, guys. You're welcome. It's not the ice cream or the beer. It's because you're not sleeping enough. That's why you're putting on weight, silly. Thank God, Dan. Now I know why my t-shirts don't fit. It's because I only sleep 7 hours a night. A new study from Columbia University suggests that even mild sleep loss can have meaningful effects on health. Researchers found that adults who cut their sleep by about 80 minutes a night for 6 weeks gained an average of 1 pound and became more sedentary. The study was designed to reflect the kind of chronic sleep restriction many adults actually experience, rather than the extreme deprivation used in earlier research. The findings add to a growing evidence that getting enough sleep may play an important role in reducing the risk of weight gain and related conditions such as heart disease and type 2 diabetes. What's this? Okay, look, someone's our bridge here. Skimping, racanear. Did I say that correctly? Racanear. Skimping. Thank you, Bridge. Can we get her a nivelazo?
Vaya nivelazo.
Why do you think sleep loss might cause you to gain weight? What do you think the rationale is behind that? Is it because you're just so tired the following day that you spend most of the time just sat idling, doing very little? Let's dig in a little further. The researchers say the weight gain itself may seem small, but over time it could become clinically significant. So, yeah, what is a pound over 6 weeks can quickly turn into much, much more over time, I imagine. Participants also spent more time inactive during sleep restriction, the sleep restriction phase, with especially notable increases among men and post-menopausal women. Related studies in the same group have also linked insufficient sleep to increased insulin resistance and signs of inflammation associated with cardiovascular risk. Together, the findings suggest that sleep should be taken more seriously as a pillar of long-term health, alongside diet and exercise. I really need to work on my pillars of health. My pillars of health are not that good. My diet is well, it's not as bad as it used to be. But I'm getting no exercise and I sleep very little. How much sleep do you get a night on average, Dan?
6 hours.
6 hours is not enough, dude. What is that? How much sleep does an adult need? Let's just very quickly search that on Google. Isn't it around 8 hours? I think
it's 7.
Is it 7? Yeah, you're right. Most adults need between 7 and 9 hours sleep a night to function optimally, according to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Adults aged 18 to 60 should aim for 7 or more hours. There are nights where I don't get 7 hours. And, and either way, we're at the lower end of the scale. Dan, you need to sleep more. Is that just because of the summer heat, or is that a regular thing for you?
I think it's a regular thing.
Regular thing. And you don't feel, you don't feel tired, lacking energy, lacking pep in the morning?
Well, some days, but not always.
Yeah, I suppose that's what coffee's for. Dude, after your accident with the coffee, so one morning, Dan doesn't drink coffee in the morning. The only morning he came in to drink coffee, he spilled it all over himself. Have you drunk any more coffee?
No.
It was a curse, right? It was the gods pointing a bony finger at you saying, you, no more substances for you. Let's see. Sleep is one of the most important, if not the most important factors in health, says the Bridge. Yeah, I'm starting to think that, and my problem is I get into work so early. And then during the summer, and I don't know if this is true for you too, Dan, the problem I have during the summer is it is so light at 9 p.m. when I am winding down from the day. 9:30 I try and be in bed to sleep at 10. It's almost impossible, dude. Anyway, friends, on that note, I will no longer wax lyrical about sleep and whatnot. It is, of course, our last show for a 5-day break, so I want us to dig straight into today's unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
Every relationship, I think, has some commonalities. One relationship with another. There are certain landmarks, benchmarks that, for most people, signpost the seriousness and the committed nature of that relationship, right? I mean, eventually accumulating or eventually getting to, I guess, marriage would be, or some kind of a civil union would be the pinnacle, right? I think you might agree with that. Con is joining us in the chat. How are you doing, Con? Joining us from South Africa. So the pinnacle of the relationship pyramid I see as marriage or some kind of a civil union. But there are several steps along the ladder, aren't there? It's not just Tinder, then marriage. No. There are several steps. You meet, you have your first date. Then, you'll maybe engage in physical intimacy. Then the next step is probably farting in front of one another. Ripping off that band-aid. Have you farted in front of Lady Dan, Mrs. Dan?
No.
Has she farted in front of you?
No.
Okay, well, that's the next step, Dan. That's the next step. So, yeah, farting. I haven't done it with Sophie either. I don't think we're there yet. We'll get there. So, you first date, maybe physical intimacy, then moving in together, right? You move in together. You live with each other for a little while, right? And then, eventually, engagement, marriage, children, etc. So, of this natural evolution of most relationships, I think we can all agree that's generally the flow of water there. But is it true that a couple really need to live together? That's today's unpopular opinion. A couple doesn't need to live together. Una pareja no necesita vivir juntos. It's an interesting one today. I have experienced relationships both where I've lived with my partner and obviously where I haven't. I mean, I was in one long-term committed relationship where we didn't live together. So, yeah, let's see. All right, what do you think, Dan? What do you think they vote? How do you think they voted on this one on Instagram?
I think they voted that it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. So you think they voted true? They did vote true, Dan. 79% of people said true. Do you think, just a related kind of question, Dan, do you think if we'd have done this poll 50 years ago, it would have been the opposite?
No, I don't think so.
I think the pull of society towards having couples live together, marriage, was a lot stronger 50 years ago than it is today. I mean, it almost wasn't a conversation. You know, you meet, you move in, you get married, you have children. And that was it. There were very few other options. I do think this would have been different 50 years ago. I imagine you're a true as well, right? In your thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. So is this doesn't need to live together, but you would want to in some kind of a future?
I guess so. Yes.
So whereas you think it's not necessary, you do want to.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I might be a bit the same. Yeah, okay. It's interesting. All right, let's see. A lot of comments coming up into the chat right now. This is great. Do please keep on writing them while we go over the pros and cons. So in the true column, yeah, 79% of people said couples don't need to live together. Love doesn't require shared living space. A relationship is built on trust, affection, commitment, not a shared address. Plenty of couples maintain strong, loving relationships while living apart. Yeah, but I mean, physical proximity is one of the strongest predictors of intimacy and long-term relationship satisfaction, right? I mean, look, if you're in a relationship where you can't stand living with the other person, surely you must be questioning whether that is a relationship you should be in or not, right? Or wrong. I mean, to be fair, I was in a relationship with someone and we both, this is my now good friend, Crystal. And we both decided, we were together for a good few years, and we both decided that we didn't want to live with one another. We wanted to enjoy our personal space. Yeah. And you know, to be fair, I think both of us enjoyed that relationship, that situation, that agreement. But did we lose out somewhat in the intimacy department? Did we not form as close a bond? The more I think about it, the more I think, yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe we would have never progressed past that point. You know, is it really progression? It's an interesting question. Independence can strengthen a relationship. Maintaining separate homes allows each partner to preserve their routines, hobbies, and personal space, reducing conflict over everyday habits. It's true. There was a lot less friction. And and moving in with someone is usually a good test of the relationship, the stability and how long lasting it will be, because of each individual's little foibles. Oh, he squeezes the toothpaste from the middle. Oh my God, he leaves the toilet seat up. I mean, if you can cope living with someone, then you know the relationship is gonna last for a long time. I don't know. I mean, independence. I mean, here it's saying that independence can strengthen a relationship, but independence can also become like emotional distance if the couple stop sharing daily life, right? Living apart reduces everyday friction. Many arguments stem from household chores, finance, cleaning, or cleanliness, sleep schedules, or personal habits. Separate homes eliminates many of these conflicts. But avoiding conflict isn't the same as learning to resolve it, is it? Which is an important part of a lasting relationship. Quite often, a relationship, I think, builds an immune system from learning to deal with these little day-to-day grievances in a healthy way. And I feel like you're possibly not testing the relationship enough, or in productive ways, building an immune system for the relationship if you avoid that step of living with one another. Modern technology makes distance easier. Video calls, messaging, and flexible travel make it easier than ever to maintain close relationships without cohabiting. Yeah, I mean, I think technology complements in-person relationships, but it rarely replaces the value of shared physical presence. Does it? The idea of coming home to someone, or being the person that the other person comes home too. People with established homes, careers, children, or financial independence may prefer not to merge households. They may prefer that, but does that necessarily mean it's better? And it could apply to some life stages, but it's less practical for younger couples, right? Looking to make progress and make forward momentum in their relationship. Anyway, those are the pro columns where a lot of people voted. 79% today. I do expect this to shift as we talk, but 79% voted true. Let's get into the false column, the cons. I do see a lot more comments appearing in the chat. Thank you. You guys are on fire. So, living together is an important part of a relationship. Here we go. Living together creates countless small moments, from cooking dinner to solving everyday problems that deepen emotional connection. I kind of agree with this. Again, I was talking about that psychological immune system, right? That couple, that relationship immune system. Like, you deal with the little problems, and you learn how the other person's boundaries work, how they communicate to such a good effect on smaller things, like a vaccine, a small dose of the virus, like a vaccine. So you small little conflicts. So when a big conflict arrives, you have the emotional tools necessary to be able to deal with them. It prepares couples for long-term commitment. Cohabitation reveals habits, communication styles, and compatibility that dating alone may not expose. I mean, an argument could be made that over time you will learn those habits, communication styles, and compatibility over time, just maybe a longer period of time, right? Through traveling together, through moments of, I imagine, just because you don't live together, you will spend the night, I imagine. It's more practical. Sharing housing reduces costs, simplifies logistics, and makes daily life easier for many couples. Here's another interesting point, the socioeconomic point of the fact, none of us can afford to live individually anymore, can we? I'm very lucky to have rented my place many years ago, so it's still accessible for me to live there alone. But the cost of housing, the cost of accommodation, the cost of groceries, cohabiting quite often is not only the best thing for the relationship, but certainly to alleviate financial troubles, it could be the best thing for you both. To build a future, to build a nest. I mean, look, that being said, to play devil's advocate, financial convenience isn't necessarily a good reason to combine households, is it? Maybe, It strengthens teamwork. Managing a home together teaches cooperation, compromise, and shared responsibility. Yeah, I think I agree with that too. I mean, look, you can work well as a team without necessarily having to negotiate every domestic detail. But I do think it helps. Again, we're talking about that relationship immune system. Teaching each member of that relationship how to cope, how the communication style, the boundaries, and how to cope with the big problems because you've navigated so many small ones. Does that make sense? Am I making sense to you today? I mean, again, probably like Dan, I don't think it's 100% necessary. But I would want to. So what is going on in my head? Because I do enjoy living alone. It's interesting. Interesting to pick this apart for myself because, yeah, I'm possibly more of a shade of grey on this one than I believed when writing the unpopular opinion. Physical closeness matters. Seeing each other every day often increases affection, emotional support, and spontaneous moments of connection. It's true. Waking up in the morning next to your partner is one of the most beautiful experiences, isn't it? Or a kiss goodnight, and opening your eyes the next day and seeing them there again. Coming home from work and them being there, or them coming home from work and seeing you, and Maybe you've prepared a little dinner for them, whatever. It's just it's a magical moment. But quality time, I think, is more important than quantity of time, isn't it? The quality of that time you spend together. For many couples, living together is natural progression that reflects building a future together. And that's it. That's it. I mean, I don't think I could see myself married to someone without living with them. I mean, maybe marriage isn't necessary either. Maybe that's where we're getting to with this unpopular opinion. So it's a tough one today. Let's see what you guys think. I will post a poll in the chat. That poll will read, a couple doesn't need to live together. Una pareja no necesita vivir junta. That's today's unpopular opinion. I'll ask you to vote, and we're going to take a very quick commercial break. Hey guys, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/professional bohemian. There you'll find VODs of the episodes as they are recorded live, blogs, vlogs, and behind-the-scenes content. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can do so on twitch.tv/professional bohemian, and you can participate in the polls we use in the show on Instagram @professional bohemian or Twitter @ProBoh, PROBOH. Okay, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. How are you doing out there? It's now 9 a.m. Central European Time on this Wednesday, 8th of July. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. You're joining me and Dan live. All right. What did you miss if you just tuned in? Well, we went into an article or a story. Really, it was a post by the University of... Sorry, I'm here trying to scroll down to it right now. The University of Columbia. Or Columbia University Irving Medical Center. Skimping on sleep leads to weight gain. Not just weight gain, reduced risk of weight gain, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, all can be affected by a lack of sleep. We did a little search, and apparently your average adult needs between 6 and 9 hours a day. Which, I'm just at the bottom end of that spectrum, and quite often I come here only having had 5 or 6 hours. Dan regularly only gets 6 hours sleep. Do you think you'd feel better every day if you slept an extra hour a day, Dan?
I think I will feel the same.
Just the same?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't sleep longer on weekends?
Yes, I do.
How many hours on a weekend?
I don't know, maybe 9.
Nah, God, there we go. Now we're talking, man. See, I will sleep, much to the frustration of my partner. I will sleep only 7 hours on a weekend as well. I would like to be able to get more. I used to be able to sleep more. Got an interesting comment here from Mike, Dan. There's something called familial natural short sleep, which is a genetic trait that allows you to sleep for fewer hours without suffering from daytime sleepiness. I did a little Google search. Yeah, here it's a rare inherited genetic trait where individuals, get this, require only 4 to 6.5 hours of sleep per night. Unlike intentional sleep deprivation, natural short sleepers wake up fully refreshed, experience no daytime fatigue or cognitive impairment, and suffer no negative physical or mental health consequences. So it's a lifelong trait driven by specific rare genetic mutations. So this isn't you, Dan. This is not you. And the reason I know it's not you, because it's consistent routine. The reduced sleep duration remains constant even on weekends, holidays, or during vacations. And you, over the weekend, sleep 9 hours. Yeah, I worry about that. I want to get a good night's sleep, man. High behavioral drive. Individuals with this trait often display high energy levels, increased optimism, and a strong ability to handle stress. I hate them already. It is jealousy on my part, so don't worry about that. So yeah, interesting article, and thanks, Mike, for dropping that information. That was interesting to read. And then we moved on to today's unpopular opinion, which is a couple doesn't need to live together. The vote is still live. You've got 3 minutes left to vote. On Instagram, it was very, very heavily swayed in one direction. 79% of people said true, they don't need to live together. But eventually you think they would, wouldn't you? Dan, if you met a couple that had been together 10 years, but they didn't live together, what would be your immediate thought? Would you make a snap judgment?
No, I would think it's more about the economics.
If they didn't live together?
Yes.
That they were just very wealthy, so they could both afford to live apart.
I was thinking the contrary, that they cannot afford living together.
I think it's cheaper to live with someone. Eh? I mean, one of the biggest expenses in mine and your, I mean, pretty much everyone's life right now is the rent. It's just the cost of paying the rent or the mortgage if you own a house is one of the biggest costs. I mean, it's a part it's at least a third of my wage, and or more probably, and for many people even more than that. You know, and then add rent, add the bills, the power, the heating, lighting. When you pool those resources and live together, obviously you're both paying half, right? So it does make it a little bit more economically viable to move in together. So that would be a snap judgment. It's an economic thing. You wouldn't question the solidity of the relationship at all. You wouldn't think, oh, something not right there.
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't.
Okay. You know, and I guess it may be hypocrisy or a bias on my part, but I might look at that relationship, 10 years, they don't live together, I might look at that relationship and think, oof, something smells bad there. Quite erroneously, because it doesn't mean anything. They could be perfectly happy together. I'm just talking about my own, I'm being honest about my own cognitive biases, because quite possibly if Crystal and I hadn't broken up, which I'm glad we did because we're great friends now, but if we hadn't, you know, it would be around 10 years later and we would still be living in different apartments. I mean, for me, I think I kind of I put a pin in the idea of living with each other as just a rung on a ladder, and maybe that's my own bias. Maybe that's where it comes from, because I see moving in together as a step in the relationship, right? A commitment, a further commitment to the relationship. You've got 1 minute left to vote, guys, by the way. The vote is almost over. And I think many people do. I don't think I'm alone in this. I mean, look, on Instagram, they disagree. They say it's perfectly fine. A couple should live apart. But I don't know. I would... I don't know how I feel about this one. This is you guys are really educating me today. Anyway, here's Vero. Vero says, true. As long as a couple are sure about their feelings, there's no need to share a home. Especially nowadays, that it's quite difficult to have a family life. Yeah, doesn't it make it even harder, though? This is our beloved Vero, by the way, who says, morning, beautiful bohemians around the universe and beyond. How are you doing, Vero? Nice to see you. Don't you think it just makes it easier to have a bit of a family life if you live together, though? I mean, look, if you're in a relationship and you're not considering marriage and you don't want children, I mean, I could see if two people came to that conclusion together, not living together as being more than a viable option, the preferred way of having that relationship. But then again, living with your partner does cut out a lot of financial stress, doesn't it? I mean, but then again, financial stress isn't a good reason to make any decision in a relationship, is it? But then you hear people getting married because of the tax breaks, and I don't know what to think. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for that, Vero. That was interesting. Bridge here said, okay, so in the first half of the show, I said, Dan, do you think 50 years ago people would have answered differently to the poll because so many people voted true? He says, no, I don't think so. And I disagreed. I said, yeah, no, I think they would, because I don't think relationships came in many flavors back in the day, not like they do now. I think we design our lives to our own tastes much more than we used to. Society had a very clear, or much stronger pull 50 years ago. And Bridge says, Rob, if you hadn't noticed, Dan wasn't around 50 years ago. True story. Neither was I, by the way. I'm not 50 yet, but I'm getting there. But yeah, that's a fair point. She continues anyway. She says, I, as usual, am the odd bod. I have been married since 1989. Yes, Dan, I was around 50 years ago. And Cristobal and I have spent a spell living in different houses. When I was with my mother, she says, in parentheses. I know that it is not living apart out of choice. However, I cannot see the problem. I think it is a question of choice, and in any case, we all have quirks. Having our own space is healthy, I think. Can we get Bridge a ProBoh approved?
ProBoh approved.
So yeah, I read that through the break, and it shifted something inside me. As always, you guys and your comments and your ideas, they do sway me. I don't come into these things. Well, I don't often come into these things with a very clear idea of where I sit on them. As always, I'm try and maintain some nuance, but that one really affected me, and I thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, I know it's not out of choice. It was a forced situation in the case of Bridge here, but she does make a great point there. I think it is a question of choice, and in any case, we all have quirks. Having your own space is healthy. It is healthy, isn't it? I mean, it depends how you see a relationship. Is it two individuals? Are you two individuals? I kind of believe that, two individuals. But then, the nature of the relationship does require more of a symbiosis, doesn't it? A combined entity of two people joining, becoming a union. Thinking pragmatically, I mean, isn't that the whole idea of marriage? It's an interesting one. You guys are on fire. Vero says, beloved, oh, I love you too. Oh, Vero, bless you. Mike says, moving in together too soon can ruin a relationship. It's better to do it based on experience rather than expectations. Even so, I think a good idea for couples living together is having two separate beds. Oh! Dan, if you and Mrs. Dan moved in together, would you consider having two separate beds?
I don't know.
I mean, I never thought of that. Whenever I have lived with someone, we've shared, with a partner, I should preface, we have shared a bed. Although there were many nights where I had to sleep on the sofa. Oh, okay. It's interesting, Mike. And why is that? To maintain some personal space, to have a little space that you call your own? It's interesting. I like that. I like that insight. All right, let's take a look at some comments I received on Instagram. Again, as always, some great comments here. Gabrielle says, I agree. Plenty of couples have healthy relationships without sharing the same home. Yeah, but is it not a bit of an illusion? Oh, this is, again, bear in mind, as I've stated earlier, that I probably am suffering from some kind of a bias about this one. But I do see living together as a part of the natural flow of a relationship. I see that. That's what I want for my life. Although I can understand how it's not necessary for some people, but for me, it's on the wish list, right? Part of the reason why that is because I want the relationship to be stable and solid. And I think the day-to-day molestias, as you might say in Spanish, right? The day-to-day little gripes, grievances, the things that you just have to resolve, builds up an immune system in that couple, in that partnership, that when the big things happen, that you know how to handle them correctly. But then again, look at me. I'm unmarried, right? So what the hell do I know? And I have been in a relationship, a long-term relationship, where we didn't live together, and it was perfectly fine. Gabrielle, I appreciate this, and you guys are uncovering maybe a bias in my own mind that I wasn't prepared for today, but this is interesting. Erin Holmes, for me, living together is how you really find out if you're compatible long-term. Erin, that is where my head is at. You've put it quite succinctly. Yeah, and I appreciate you for that. Isn't that how you find out if you're compatible long-term? I mean, look, anyone can put on their best behavior for a week away in wherever. A little vacation together. Anyone can kind of put away their, everyone can be on their best behavior for a short period of time. But when you live with each other, that's when you know, isn't it? That's when you know. Thank you for that, Erin. Christoph, spelt with too many Zs. Krzysztof. Christoph Nowak. Thank you for writing, Christoph. Never seen it spelled like that. It says, people assume moving in together is the natural next step, but it doesn't have to suit everyone. See, there I agree. Look, if you're not planning on getting married, you're not planning on having kids. I mean, does your opinion change if there are kids involved, Dan? Do you think it's necessary that they live together if there are kids involved?
Yes, if they are kids, I do.
Yeah, me too. So I think maybe that's where my bias might live. Why I think it's a natural progression. Because I think if two people love each other a lot and they want kids, then, having both partners in the home to help the raising of those kids is only beneficial to the kids. But as always, I'm here to be disagreed with. Marissa Delgado says, if both people are happy with the arrangement, I don't see why living separately makes the relationship any less real. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's necessary, but I do think... Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't have to be a natural progression in a relationship. Maybe it doesn't mean anything. But all I can say is, emotionally speaking, for me, it does. Emotionally speaking, for me, it does. However, if I were to vote today, let's look at the exact wording of the unpopular opinion. A couple doesn't need to live together. It doesn't say family, it says a couple. And a couple doesn't need necessarily to live together. I mean, look, we're privileged enough to live in a world with an abundance of choice for how we conduct ourselves in a relationship. An abundance of choice. And if two people love each other but want their own space, who are we to say, nah, that's not good. That's not for me. That shouldn't be for you. Yeah, so I think I would have voted true today, but let's see how you guys voted. So I made the statement, a couple doesn't need to live together, and you guys said 60% true. Okay, well, it's a far cry from the 79% on Instagram, but I take your point. I think what I've done today is maybe uncovered a bit of a cognitive bias within my own mind. I think I am very much entrenched in the old value system of the progression of a relationship. You know, you date, things get more serious, things get physical, then you move in together, then I'm missing one. Things get physical, you fart in front of one another, then you move in together, then you have kids, or you get married, then you have kids, you know. I think maybe because I'm so entrenched in that view, because my rational mind obviously says, well, of course, if a couple doesn't want to, of course it's fine. That couple doesn't need to live together. I would have voted true, but I would have voted true, battling my own inner bias. So thank you for that, guys. You know all these things we've been expressing, you know what Grandpa Bo would call them? Opinions. And opinions, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one. They all stink, including mine. Let's move on to today's 100 Humans. Oh my God. It was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys. And on that walk, I encountered 100 humans and I asked them all a question. That question today was, when a couple breaks up, cuando una pareja rompe, what might one of them want back? ¿Qué podría querer recuperar uno de los dos? I asked them that question, they gave me their answers. I'm in possession of the top 7 answers. Your job in the audience is to identify those top 7 answers. Big thank you to Carlos, Emily, Tigre Devil, Fran F. Perea, Athul Dan, Ivan Samroff, Anna Kasan, and many, many others. Juan Arreo, Ivan GP. All right. What do you think, Dan?
I will say the house.
The house. I want my house back. Is house there? Yes, it is, Dan. Well done. Dan thinking about divorce there. Yeah. Yeah, that must be awful. Anyway, whatever. I don't want to be too... I don't want to editorialize too much. Vero here says keys. I think that's a house, right? That's the house. Although, you do need keys for another thing, don't you? Keys for another thing that you might want back. There's a little clue. Mike says pets. Yeah, give me my pet back. Is pet there? Mascota. Yes, it is. Well done. Guys, you're on fire. Books, says Vero. Oh, God, yeah, that would drive... That, I have lost more books to failed relationships than anything else. Is books there? No, it's not. Bwah, bwah, bwah. Thank you, though. Thank you. Sorry, 1 second. I think I might have screwed up today and lost one of the answers, and I'm wondering if one of those answers is actually books. So ubiquitous is it? The idea of losing a book in a relationship. Sorry, guys, just give me 1 moment. Let me see if I can find that document. Of course, I ask the 100 humans every morning, don't I? You know that. Let me see what the answer that I'm missing was. Okay, 1 second. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Thank you for your patience. I hate to interrupt the game, but I do want to make sure we are... I know. Okay. I know where it was. Okay. It wasn't books. Sorry. But yeah, books is a great answer. Photos. Is photos there? Photos. No, it's not. Isn't that the first thing you rip up and burn? Oh, well, you don't do that nowadays, do you? Or you're on Facebook, you just erase the other person using AI. Or just delete the photos. Music, says Mike. Musica. It's there. Well done, Mike. And guess what? That was the answer that I was missing. It was, in fact, music. 12 of 100 humans said that in 3rd place. Well done. Vero says the car. Coche. Is car there? Yes, it is, Vero. Well done. Car was there. 7 of 100 humans said that. 5th place. Custody of the dog. We did say pets, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Custody of the dog said the bridge. Mike says clothes. Ropa. Clothes. Is clothes there? Yes, it is. Well done. Guys are on fire. Only 2 left to get. Let's pay a little attention to our friends on Instagram. Household appliances, says Ivan GP. Anaka-san. Some nice gift that they gave each other. Yeah. Expensive gift, says Ivan Samroff. I can't give that to you, I'm afraid, but you're very close to one. Clothes, says Athul Dan. Pets, Framparea. Clothes and toothbrush. The bike lock I gave her as a birthday present. A lot of you asking for gifts back. That's not cool, man. They call that an Indian giver when you give a gift and then take it away again. If it's a gift, you don't own it, do you? I can just hear a lot of people screaming at me from their houses right now. The sleeping t-shirt, says Carlos. Everything from before the relationship, says Emily. I think that's a good rule of thumb. Okay, Juan Arreo says money. Money. Dinero. Is money there? Yes, it is. Okay. Oh, Bridge is on fire. Okay, we have clothes in the chat. Souvenirs. TV, says Artemisa. Fridge magnet, says Mike. All great answers, none of them there. But the Bridge has an answer here. A ring or the ring. Is ring there? Anillo. Yes, it is. Well done. Guys, you completed today's 100 humans. On our final show before the break, you did it. Let's go through the list. When I asked 100 humans to name something that someone might want back after a relationship, cuando un pareja rompe, ¿qué podría querer recuperar uno de los dos? In position number, we had a car, coche. In position number 6, with 5 of 100 humans, we had the house, casa, or the house keys, I think, more likely, no? In position number 5, we had dinero, money, 10 of 100 humans. In position number 4, mascota, pet, 11 of 100 humans. Don't take my dog away. I had dual custody of a dog for a long time. In position number 3, with 12 of 100 humans, it was money, dinero. No, music, sorry, my bad. Music, música. 12 of 100 humans said that. In position number 2, we had the ring, anillo. Give me the ring back. And finally, in position number 1, with 35 of 100 humans, we had clothes, ropa. Well done. Give me back my Vaughn t-shirts. Mike says, great show, Rob. Have a lot of fun at Mad Cool. Thank you, guys. I will. If you're there and you see a bald man, do say good morning, and I will see you guys after the break.